Chris Rock. Selective Outrage. Yeah. This special dropped on Netflix. It was streamed live and then it dropped on Netflix. It was the long-awaited special from Chris Rock post the infamous "Keep my wife's name out your motherfucking mouth." You know? Hashtag Oscars so fucking jiggy with it. Like, yo, Chris dropped it. It was, in my opinion, a masterwork. I wouldn't call it a masterpiece. I mean, it was a masterwork. You know, it was a work done by a master. It's required viewing for anyone who's into stand-up comedy, just due to the pop culture significance of the Oscar slap. Will Smith nominated for an Oscar, A-list actor, accolades up the wazoo, storms on stage at the I guess the 2022 Oscars, slaps Chris Rock in the face for making some stupid cornball joke about his bald-headed wife, Jada Pinkett Smith. You know, some lame-ass little passing joke. It's almost like a street joke. I remember being in that movie came out a long time ago, G.I. Jane. That movie came out when I was in grade 6 when that movie came out. I remember being in grade 6, you know, we used to think it was funny. Like, we saw the movie and there was a line in the movie that I thought was so funny. Viggo Mortensen, you know, he plays like the drill instructor.
You know, the thing about pain is, lets you know you're not dead yet.
I used to think that was a funny line.
You know, the thing about pain is, lets you know you're not dead yet.
He like stoops down and says that over like G.I. Jane's face while she's in the mud doing push-ups. Like, that movie came out like 1995, 96 or some shit. 1996 that movie came out, 96, 97. And it's like Will Smith storms the stage and slaps Chris Rock over some petty little joke that no one even gave a shit about. You know what I mean? I mean, well, obviously his wife did. He did. But I mean, it was just so odd. Right? Well, selective outrage. Chris goes in on Will. Goes in hard. Not as hard as he could have, but I mean, to my opinion, he went hard. He made the point. He said, you know, spoiler alert. One of the jokes was,
we've all been cheated on. We all understand that, getting cheated on. We all understand that. But how many motherfuckers been interviewed by the motherfucker that cheated on them? So, tell me how you felt when I sucked another man's dick.
You know, it's pretty hard. You know, on a platform like Netflix where the whole world's watching. Interview question from his wife.
So, how did you feel when I sucked another man's dick?
It's pretty hard, right? You know, and he goes into the whole thing about how aptly titled Selective Outrage, Will Smith exhibited selective outrage. You know, like, Chris Rock is obviously not the physical stature of Will Smith. Will Smith is a tall, muscular dude. Chris Rock is, you know, probably of average height and slender. You know what I mean? And, you know, going up there, throwing your weight around selectively, as Chris pointed out, you know, he said something like,
Doubt you'd be doing that if Fitty was up here.
50 Cent.
Doubt you'd be doing that if that was Fitty up here.
And, it was a masterwork by a master comedian. It's definitely required viewing if you're into stand-up comedy. Just by the sheer fact that it's a Chris Rock special, and also by the cultural significance of everything surrounding the moment of the infamous slap. It's confusing though. Like, for a guy like me, from like my perspective, like I'm a Will Smith fan. You know what I mean? And the tragic thing is, like, after Will did that, he goes on to win Best Actor for King Richard. His latest film that came out, Emancipation. Epic. It was a great film. By Antoine Fuqua, director of like Training Day. Yeah. Emancipation. He plays, Will Smith plays this, based loosely on a true story or on a true story. There's like an infamous photo of a whipped slave that has all his whips across his back. And this is based loosely on a true story or on a true story. This runaway slave, basically. And he goes and he fights, he fights in the Civil War. I'm not an American. I don't know what the fuck the Civil War of whatever the fuck, the big war, the North and the South, right? So he goes and he fights in the war, and he's a runaway slave, and it's an intense film, and it's beautifully shot, big battle scenes, a gritty type of cinematography, a lot of interesting shots with like drone. I guess they would have done it by drone, or maybe like some kind of zip line pulley system. But a lot of like these tracking drone shots, a very interesting kind of gritty black and white sepia kind of look, phenomenal acting. Like Will Smith, like he did a great performance. He played like this, I guess like this Haitian slave, and the accent was good. It wasn't corny, like a lot of time. Hello, my name is Wantantu. I want to get home to Africa. My name is Azibo. I'm from Africa, the land of the zebra. Like, when North American black guys do African accents, it's just so fucking corny. Like, it's so dumb, right? Like when a North American black, like myself or whoever, does like a African accent, like, give me a break. Can you get any fucking lamer than that, right? But Will Smith, he drops this Haitian kind of Creole, Haitian Baton Rouge type of accent that was kind of nuanced and very, like, it really, like, you just bought it. You totally bought into it. It wasn't corny. It wasn't cheesy. You bought the accent. You bought the character. You're brought into this world of horrendous human suffering, and then the triumph of the human spirit, what the man did for his family, to be with his family. And Ben Foster, I believe his name is, he's an actor. He played like not the plantation, but like, I guess the chain gang boss, the head master, just a real fucking evil dude. Did a great performance as well. Emancipation, great film. It's so confusing. It's like that could have been the story for Will. He goes and he wins Best Actor, King Richard, followed by an amazing film, Emancipation. Shit, in all honesty, he should be nominated again Who knows? He might even be nominated in this 2023 season or whatever, this upcoming season for Emancipation. I don't know. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. But it was a great tour de force performance. And it's so strange being in my position. Like, this isn't the obvious outlook, but at least it's my outlook. I'm an actor. I'm a comic. And I'm watching two of the greatest actors in comics of our time, Will Smith, Chris Rock, embroiled in this situation, I guess, however it started, it started, you know? As much as I think it was wrong, 100% wrong, and as much as I agree with Chris Rock's stance, I mean, he spit it on the special, Selective Outrage. He talks about how Jada, that bald-headed bitch, like how she basically, you know, I'm letting words fly here. It ain't my damn business. But, well, no, basically what I'm trying to say is, like, I'll speak on it if I want to, because, like, it is in the public domain. Like, that fucking Red Talk Table, what a fucked up show. Whatever the fuck sparked the interest in that fucking production. Like, whatever the fuck they thought they were thinking to do something like that was ridiculous. But I mean, I don't have to be so crass and be calling her a B word and all that stuff. I mean, what's the point? You know what I mean? But I mean, she was definitely a ridiculous person with that fucking Red Talk Table. Come on. Who the fuck would air something like that? Right? If you've seen it, the Red Talk Table Talk or whatever the fuck, that stupid podcast of hers, she got Will on there interviewing him, saying all this crap. I remember the first time I saw that, I was like, yo, is that Here Comes the Men in Black? Won't let you remember. Ooh. Now the good guys dressed in black. Remember that case we meet face to face and make contact. Go by me, MIB. It's what you think you saw, but you did not see. I'm like, is that my motherfucking childhood hero getting dogged out by his wife? Like a fool? Like a puppet? I'm like, what the fuck is this? I'm just like, is that the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? Is that Big Willie Style getting jiggy with it? Nah. Summertime. Miami. Going to Miami. I'm a emo, I'm Miami. Dancing in the sunny when the heat is on. All night on the beach till the break of dawn. You're just looking at this, you're like, what in the fuck is this? Is that I Am Legend up there? Is that Ali? Is that Independence Day? Like, what in the fuck is this? And, you know, you'd be watching this. And from my position, like, it's like, you know how many actors would love to have 1/10 of what Will Smith has accomplished? Black or white, Asian, Indian, whatever type, like any actor of any creed. You know how many of them would love to have 1/10 of the success? And then as a comedian, you know how many comedians would want to have 1/10 of the success of a Chris Rock? Epic, legendary specials, HBO specials galore, going down in history as one of the greatest comics to ever do it. Film directing, starring in films, Saturday Night Live, his own television series, or his own television show, interview show, Chris Rock Late Show, or I'm sorry, whatever it was called, whatever it was called. I can't recall offhand. He had like a late night show where, you know, he interviewed some big names, Prince, George Carlin. I remember seeing those ones, Prince, George Carlin, you know. And, you know, a legendary career. You know, here I am as a podcaster right now. Most comics do podcasts to up their profile in the comedy game. Any comic doing a podcast would love to have a Chris Rock career. I'm going to an acting class later in the week, like on Saturday, this weekend, I'm going to an acting class to, keep my chops fresh. You know how many actors in there would love to have a Will Smith career? It's like, so I look at this whole situation. It's like, is that what there is to look forward to? More money, more problems, Like, how is that enviable? Like, as a comic, to get slapped publicly on a huge platform like the Oscars, made a fool of, and then have people be like, clamoring to see what your response is. And then what a negative cycle of, a whole year he had to spend coming up with these jokes. Yes, he got paid for it. Yes, there was a lot of attention from it. But who wants to create from that place? A place of anger. And I guess a lot of times comedy comes from there anyway. But you would never want to. Who would want that? It's not like he wanted that situation, obviously. He didn't need it. He's a master comic. You don't need somebody to come up and slap him in the face to give him material. Like, come on. Right? Nobody would want that. And then from Will Smith's angle, it's like, is that what I'm striving for? Bust my ass to try to get some attention? Oh my God, what if, from the glory of God, I'm nominated for an Oscar someday? And then what? Like, is that what it's about? Just to get to the height of your career and then crumble under pressure over just nonsense? Like, think about the pressure of a dude like Will Smith. You got motherfuckers coming at you from every which angle. Like, think about when you're a mogul icon like a Will Smith, how many people are on you? How many people are just siphoning money from you, taking you for granted, playing games with you? Like, think about it. He probably hires a guy full-time, like a money manager, an account watcher, just to watch the amount of money that's being siphoned from him. It's like, I'm making so much money, I have to hire somebody to monitor my money. Like, to monitor the monitor of my money. Like, think about how many people are, you buy a car. Now you need a mechanic. Now you need a garage. Now, like, all these things that come with, the things you own wind up owning you. The bigger you get, the more the eyes are on you. The tentacles. And oddly enough, I've spoken to people who actually agreed. Oddly enough, it's not as cut and dry as you may think. Like, I see it as just like, Will lost his mind temporarily. He just lost his temper, and that was ridiculous. There's no way he should have acted that way. There's actually people who are like, well, as crazy it may seem, it makes sense. You're dissing the man's wife publicly, and, a lot of, like, even for myself, like, I would never do a thing like that. I'm not that way now. But I remember a time when there was a woman that I was seeing, and she had me in a place like that, not like a murderous rampage where I'm going to go slap a motherfucker on national television, international television, but like, she had that emotional control where I was just, she didn't even ask for it. She just played me like a fiddle, basically. The highs and the lows, right? A lot of dudes actually can relate to that. It's like, as crazy as it is, there's a lot of dudes who are like, well, they understand where Will was coming from. And I'll top it off with this. Like, there's a new, I think it's new Netflix documentary. It's called The Hatchet Hitchhiker. The Hatchet-Wielding Hitchhiker. The shocking documentary chronicles a happy-go-lucky nomad's ascent to viral stardom and the steep downward spiral that resulted in his imprisonment. So it's this documentary about this dude who like he intervenes in some sort of assault. He steps forward to intervene during an assault, and then he becomes like a viral sensation, some sort of viral legend, a folklore hero. This hatchet-wielding hitchhiker. And it totally depicts fame. You know, the rise from obscurity to the public loving, the public adoration, and then the downward spiral that came with it. And just that, how fickle and nonsensical the trapping of fame is. And that's why it was a great illustration of the trappings of fame. And it was a good reminder to me and a bit of a head scratcher for me too, to like, you're looking at this whole Will Smith, Chris Rock situation, this entanglement, and it's just so nonsensical. How could something like that even happen? You know? It's the same reason, it's the same sense of like, well, how did the Beatles break up? Like, you would think that four motherfucking blokes from Liverpool, wherever the hell they're from, you know, four blokes from Liverpool or London, or I think Liverpool, right? They're from, you know, London, England. They're from England anyway. Four blokes from England rise to superstardom, the world at their feet. How, born to make music, loving making music. How the fuck does that band break up? How did things get so bad that they had to split up? That's fame. That's fame. Fame isn't winning an award and trumpeting it around on your shoulders. I want a fucking golden man statue. Fame is actually, I can't define what fame is. I don't know. I never experienced it. But it's a bit of a noggin scratcher. You have to admit, it's a bit of a noggin scratcher. So, you know, I'm still left confused. I'm still left confused. Because it's like, they seemingly have it all, yet they seemingly are miserable. Because like even in Chris Rock's special, there's a lot of stuff he's speaking about, and it's very funny, but it's just also like, it's very much still the trappings of fame. Like, I mean, I don't know if he made a point to emphasize that. I don't know if it's like a theme of the, well, I wouldn't call it a theme of the special, but there's many instances when he's talking about his life and just, it's almost like a trapping of fame. Like just some of the situations, the dating, the family, and then also the career, you know, all the stuff that happened with Will Smith and the entanglement. Anyway, a master work done by a master comedian. Required viewing for anyone who's into stand-up comedy, and required viewing for anyone interested in, you know, American pop culture, for sure. Chris Rock, Selective Outrage. God bless you, Chris. God bless you, Will. May you two go on and continue to be the icons you are. That's all I have to say.